Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Nusantara project training. My name is I will be the moderator for today's training with the topic an introduction of SPSS. This training is a part of the Nusantara project and compulsory for all Nusantara students. Today we will have the trainer whose expertise is in SPSS, which is a very important topic for all of you who do research. Before I start, I would like to explain the rules. First one is that all online participants will be muted during the presentation, and all participants can put the Zoom background. And if you haven't received it, please open the chat room box and find the link in which you can download it from. And then there will be a Q&A session after the trainer finish their presentation. And then the moderator has the authority to choose who will deliver the question or suggestion. All the participants must answer the question in our learning management system, or in short, LMS as you know it. And for now, please welcome our trainer for today, Dr. Daisy Kim Wei Hong, which I will introduce. She is an associate professor at the School of Management, University Sains Malaysia, Penang, Malaysia. She received her Ph.D. in Business and Management from the International Graduate School of Business at the University of South Australia and earned MBA from Universiti Sains Malaysia. She has published 71 ISI and Scopus indexed journal papers. She is the country director of the Association of International Business and Professional Management, or as you know it as AIBPM, and the country director of Star Scholars Network, United States. She is also an active keynote speaker and panelist for international conferences. Aside of that, she is also the coordinator for Penang Youth Development Corporation, and she was the award recipient for Sanggar Sanjung and Publication Excellence by the School of Management Service Excellence Award by University Sains Malaysia, and the Merdeka Award from Australia Malaysia Business Council of South Australia by former South Australia Governor Sir Eric Neal. The award recognizes Dr. Daisy as the most outstanding Malaysia University student in South Australia. She was also awarded as one of the top MBA students in 2003. Dr. Daisy's research interests include organizational psychology, human resource management, organizational behavior, work values, leadership, and entrepreneurship. She was a visiting professor at Pusan National University in South Korea. She is also a chief editor of the Journal of Community Development in Asia, assistant specialty chief editor of organizational psychology of Frontiers in Psychology, and associate editor for Frontiers in Public Health. Now, Dr. Daisy, the time is yours.
Thank you so much, for your introductions. And thank you so much, Prof. Michael, for inviting me as the speaker and the trainer for the Nusantara project. Thank you, AIBPM as well. And now I'm going to share my slide. And I need AIBPM to enable the participant screen sharing. Thank you, I need your help because your side, you have actually disabled me from sharing the screen.
Yes, we have enabled it in.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Okay, good morning, students, and good morning to all the audience, and thank you so much for attending the workshop this morning. And today training is about introductions to SPSS that is related to your Nusantara project. Okay, I'm going to enlarge it. Okay, so what is SPSS. SPSS actually stands for Statistical Package for Social Science. I believe you're very familiar with this, and some of you may have learned about SPSS. SPSS is actually, in fact, one of the most popular statistical packages which can help you to perform highly complex data manipulations and analysis with simple instructions. So I'm going to show you, as you can see at the right column, you can see this is the SPSS data editor. The moment when you actually download SPSS, the first thing when you actually open, you will see the SPSS interface. And the first page that you see actually is SPSS data editor. And at the bottom, you can see here, you will have two tabs. The first tab is data view, as you can see highlight, at the bottom, highlight in yellow. Data view is a place where you can actually enter your data with you can see the column. Column is all the variable, and then row is the record. And the variable view, another tab, is a place you enter the variable and the list of all your variables, and you can actually choose the characteristic of your variables. So this is what you can actually see in the SPSS. You can actually enter data in SPSS directly. For example, this is the example of data entry. If you have the case, you can actually, like for example, you collect data via hard copy. So what you need to do is you have to actually enter data manually. Okay. But nowadays, I believe majority of the students, you actually collect data via Google Form. So it will actually help you better, whereby you actually no need to key in your data manually. You can actually download the Google Form. When you actually create the Google Form, you can see at the responses there. When you click the responses, you will actually know that how many responses that you actually collected. For example, you have a total of 252 responses, and you see, I see circle there, the green color. That is the Microsoft Excel. So you can actually click this button, and you can actually download all your responses in Excel. And next to the, the circle, you can see the three dot. You can also click there, and then you can actually download it in SAV and in CSV. So either one is in Excel format, another one is in CSV, and both can be used for SPSS. So the easy way, when you have the Google Form, you can actually download your data from your Google Form. Okay, either you go for the Excel format or you go for the CSV format. Both are doable. So how do you actually import your data from your, Excel or even from your CSV to SPSS? First, you select the file, you open the data. And then second step is you choose the Excel as a file type, and then you select the file that you want to import, then you click open. Okay, later I'm going to show you how. Okay, now let's look at the scale measurement. It's very important. Actually, there are a few scales, but I just want to touch about nominal and also ordinal, because these are the scale mostly used by the students. Like for example, you have the informations, and you collect the information about gender, age. So you actually come up with the nominal, means that the number, or even when you actually measure your independent variable, or whatever variables that you have, for example, mediator, moderator, or even dependent variable. So you actually use Likert scale, you can actually use nominal. Then ordinal scale means that you actually rank. Like for example, you ask them the top 10 video, so you can actually insert their ordinal. Okay. So under SPSS, you can actually perform descriptive statistic. So one is the frequency, another one is the descriptive. What is the difference between frequency and descriptive statistic? Okay, frequency, actually you will produce a frequency table that will show the frequency count. So you can see how many actually take this and what is the percentage. I'm going to show you the example. And then the descriptive, they will show you more informations rather than the frequency and the percentage. They will show you minimum, maximum, mean, standard deviations for the variable. Okay, so now let's go for the practical example. Let's say this is your framework. So you can see for the framework, what do you have here? Okay, okay, before that, let me introduce. This is an example of the Nusantara project. So how e-commerce characteristic can affect consumer trust and online purchase intention. So you can see some of your team or some of your friends, maybe they're actually doing some related to purchase intention. So the framework may be quite similar to what you have. But of course, I would say that this student actually look at the, I would say it's quite different from your project because he's actually looking at the characteristic of the e-commerce. So first is looking at the interactivity. Second variable is informativeness. The second one is convenience of use. So you can see here the independent variable is interactivity, informativeness, and convenience of use. And the dependent variable is actually purchase intention, and trust is in fact the mediator, or it can be, you can consider as IDV. Okay, so you can see that this student actually is looking at the relationship between the IDV with the DV. Okay, they also look at the relationship between the IDV with the trust, and another relationship is between trust to purchase intention. So here, how many hypotheses? If you count, okay, 3 IDV to trust, 3 IDV to purchase intention, and from trust to purchase intentions, they are altogether 7. So there will be 7 hypotheses. So I hope you actually understand how do you actually formulate your hypothesis based on your research framework. Okay, so let's look at the objective. So what are the research objective? Okay, from here, of course, you can come up with the 7 research objectives, but we want to make it very clear to the audience, especially in your Nusantara paper. You can have 3 main research objectives. First is to explore a positive relationship between the e-commerce characteristic, which actually include the 3: interactivity, convenience, and informativeness. Okay, you should actually put Anna, there's a mistake, I didn't actually include it, and trust. Okay, so that is the first research objective. The second one is to examine a positive relationship between e-commerce characteristic, okay, including interactivity, convenience, and informativeness, and with the DV, purchase intention. Last, to investigate a positive relationship between trust and purchase intentions. So from your research objective, you actually hypothesize that there is a positive relationship between IDV to trust, between IDV to dependent variable, that is your purchase intention, and from trust to purchase intention. So this is what you should actually put into your Nusantara paper. Okay, research objective is the objective of your research. What is the aim? Okay, and you put them into a statement. Statement means that it's a sentence. Right. So research question is the same as your research objective. What is actually different is because you are actually converting your research objective into a question format. So you can check your Nusantara project, okay, how do you actually phrase your research question? So in this example, okay, you have already come across the research objective. So we are actually converting the research objective to the question format. And here you go. Does e-commerce characteristic, interactivity, convenience, and informativeness. Okay, there is a typo because I forgot to include the N. Okay, positively influence trust. Second research question is, does e-commerce characteristic, okay, interactivity, convenience, and informativeness positively influence purchase intentions? Lastly, does trust positively influence purchase intentions? So this will be your three main research question. So first of all, what you need to do is you must make sure you have a proper research framework. That's why when you come and see me, I will tell you, make sure you formulate your research framework, because when you have the proper research framework, then you can actually formulate your research question as well as your research objective. Okay, and from there, remember the framework. So you will have 3 IDV. So the first 3 hypotheses will be positively related to trust. Okay, the first one is about the first characteristic of the e-commerce. There is interactivity is positively related to trust. Okay, informativeness is positively related to trust. Convenience of use is positively related to trust. Okay, hypothesis 4, 5, and 6, you are hypothesized that these 3 characteristics of the e-commerce will be positively related to your DV, that is purchase intentions. And the last hypothesis, based on your research framework, trust is positively related to purchase intention. And some of your things, you do not actually know how to formulate the hypothesis, and here you go, you can see. Okay, basically hypothesis is about you hypothesize, you are actually making a predictions. What is the relationship? What is the directions of your relationship between your variable? Okay, this is what we call hypothesis. You are making a predictions. Okay, you are actually predicting that there will be a positive relationship between interactivity with trust. Okay, of course, you can hypothesize there is a negative relationship. Okay, so how do you actually hypothesize? Okay, you have to actually base on the past study. So what did the past study actually mention and report? And sometimes you'll find that there will be what we call the inconsistency between the past study. The past study may actually, some of them actually share that, okay, maybe, you know, some study reported that there are negative relationship between this IDV and DV. Some study actually reported that there are positive relationship between these two. So your job is to report there are some inconsistency, and hence you are actually aim to examine if there is a positive relationship or negative relationship between this variable. Okay. So after you actually formulate your hypothesis, what you need to do is you need to come up with a questionnaire. Okay, of course, if you want to go for qualitative study, you can. Okay, I'm more focused on the empirical, quantitative, because this training is about SPSS. So you are required to do the data collections if you are doing quantitative study. So for example, remember the framework, the DV is purchase intentions. So you must have questions for your purchase intention. So where do you actually get the question? Okay, first you can actually look at the past study. Okay, the past study they have published and they have talked about the purchase intentions. So you can see in these slides that I put in, okay, these 4 questions were actually adopted from you and go to 2000. So a sample item is I will buy the product from e-commerce. Okay, so you can see there are 4 items and the response. Okay, you have the choice whether you want to go for the 5 Likert scale or 7 Likert scale. So I will leave it for you. In this case, you can see that the student is actually use 5 Likert scale. So you can see that it's actually the response actually range from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. And you have to actually report from the past study what is the Crombar alpha for this purchase intention. So I want to see that in your Nusantara project paper. Like in this case, when they actually adopt means that they actually fully taking the question from the past author, from the author. So they do not actually make changes. So this is what we mean by adopt. Adopt means that you actually take the items exactly without making any changes. That is the meaning of adopt. The second method that you can do is adapt. Okay, you find that these questions are relevant to your dependent variable, let's say purchase intention, but there are certain words that you want to revise. You think that it's not really good and you want to make it better so that these 4 items can fit into the context of your study. So you can actually revise it. So if you make any changes, then the word that you're supposed to use is what we call adapt. So you can say 4 items were adapted. Adapted means that you make changes. And you need to report what the changes that you made. Like for example, let's say you made some changes, right? Let's say instead of using I, you put in, you want to change I to we will buy, okay? So you have to report the changes made is to change I to replace I with we. Then you need to provide the reason why you're actually doing so. Okay, but of course, I do not suggest you change I to we, because in this case, you basically you are actually approaching the respondent and you want to see their perceptions. So usually we will use I. Okay, all right. So I want to see that you actually report in your Nusantara project. Okay. Okay, these are the questions for trust. So there are 5 questions that you actually adopt from the past study bracket and CAR 2001 and also govern at all 2003. So you can report what are the sample items and the complete list of the items are available in this table, and what is the response range that you use. Maybe you use 1 to 7. So you have to report, and you have to report the coefficient alpha. Okay, I've been actually talking about the coefficient alpha. What is this? Maybe you have been wondering. Okay, it's about the reliability. Sometimes when you actually do research, you have read so many articles, and some of them, they do have the question. And when they actually put in the question, they have already conduct the survey, and then they have the result, and they have actually run the reliability test. Okay, so this coefficient alpha means that the reliability of this item. Like for example, you have 5 items for the trust. If let's say the Crombar alpha in this case is actually 0.818, it means that when you actually took this question and you conduct your survey, you are most likely to get the similar result like the past author. Okay, the reliability, okay, what is considered good reliability is 0.7 and above. Sometimes 0.6 plus is still acceptable because it's still close to 0.7. Okay, so it means that it is actually reliable. So you can actually use this question to measure your variable. And some of you actually send me your question, and you only have 1 item, you have 2 items. Students, I want to tell you, this is definitely not okay. The minimum question for your variable, it has to be 3 and above. Okay, remember 3 and above. 2 is definitely not okay. All right, and 1 even worse. Okay, minimum, you must make sure that you have 3 items to measure your variable. Okay, let's go back to the reliability. What is reliability? Reliability, okay, I give you an example. Let's say you want to measure the length of your notebook. Okay, what are you going to use? Are you going to use pen to measure? If you use pen, the reliability will be very low because some of the pen they may be slightly longer, some of the pen may be slightly shorter. So there is no standardized measurement. But if you are using ruler, okay, a ruler, usually they only have two measurements. Either you go for cm, centimeter, or you go for inch. So ruler is considered a reliable tool. So your question also, you have to make sure that it is reliable. So you must make sure you have to check the Crombar Alpha from the past study. Okay, what do they actually talk about the items that they actually develop? Okay, so see here, this is a question for the independent variable interactivity. So this is what I want to see when you actually report for each of your variable. So you can actually mention that interactivity was actually measured with 3 item scale adopted from so and so and sample item, and what do you actually use for your Likert scale, whether you go for 5 Likert scale and or 7 Likert scale, and what could be the Crombar Alpha. Okay, here so means that here what is missing is there's no Crombar Alpha. Okay, I want to show you here. So you have to actually report the Crombar Alpha to show that the reliability of the tool that you use to measure your variable. Okay, these are the example. You can see there are 5 questions to measure informative. So you can see here they report the Crombar Alpha. That is 0.81, means that it is actually 81% reliable. Okay, this is another 5 question to measure convenience of use. So the Crombar Alpha reported is actually 0.822. Okay, it is your choice whether you want to go for 3 decimal or 2 decimal. So if you want to go for 2 decimal, make sure you use 2 decimal all the way throughout your team paper. I would suggest you can go for 2 decimal and you can standardize them. If you want to go for 3 decimal, yes, you can do that. Okay, now, so after you are very clear with your research framework, okay, first you must make sure that you have a good research framework. Then after that, you develop your research question and your research objective, and then you formulate your hypothesis. Then from your research framework, basically you will know how many hypotheses do you actually have. And from there, your next step is actually to come up with the questionnaire. So the questionnaire must make sure every variable you have the items. How do you actually come up with the question is look at the past study. How do they actually measure the variables? Okay, you can choose to adopt or to adapt. And then after that, you can actually send your questionnaire via Google Form. Minimum, you must actually get 150, and you can see the sample paper that I sent to you. These are all your senior, and they actually collect 200 and more. Of course, my expectation is higher. If you can do better than your senior, that will be better. But my minimum requirement, it has to be 150. So this way you can actually start your data collections provided you get the approval and permission from your supervisor. Okay, after you actually collect the data, what you can do is you can actually run the frequency for your demographic question. What is demographic questions? Like for example, you collect the respondents' personal data, like their age, gender, their education level, income level, and so on, and their locations. Okay, so this is an example I'm going to show you. Okay, so you can see this is the SPSS data editor. You just need to click the analyze, then descriptive statistic, and then you click frequency. Underneath the frequency, there's descriptive. You can also click that. After you run the frequency, you can go for descriptive. Okay, so this is what you're going to get after you click the frequency tab, and this will be the output. So you can see under gender, you have the frequency, how many female, how many male, and then what is the percentage. Okay, all this you need to report in your Nusantara project. So I would like to encourage, to make sure that, you know, your team project, you have this table. That is the respondent profile summary. Like this is, actually I get it from your senior. And this is, if you want to look at this in detail, you can always refer to sample paper 1 in our e-learning. I put that. So I'm using sample paper 1. Why am I using sample paper 1? Because this is one of the good Nusantara project. So you can see this is what you actually need to do. You need to come up with the table 1 where you actually collect the personal data from your respondent, like gender, ethnicity, age. I can see that, you know, this student or this group, they actually are very creative. They actually look at the generations. So how many respondents are from boomers? How many respondents are from Gen X and Y and Z? Okay, now there is some is there already. So the education level, what are they? And the monthly household income position. Okay, so you can do the similar one. I'm not asking you to put all these data because it depends whether does it actually relevant to your study? Does it actually relevant to the context of the study? Is it compulsory for you to collect this data? So only collect the data you find that is relevant and necessary related to your topic. So you can see table 1, respondent profile, n equals to 200. So the next table that you are going to come up is the descriptive statistic, okay, and the Cronbach alpha and the zero order correlations. Before this, let's go for the, I'm going to use the SPSS to show you how to actually run the frequency. Then we will actually move on to this table. Okay, so I'm sure you can see the SPSS, and this is the variable view. You can see all the variable here. And let me click. So this is a data view. When you collect the question, you can see, and these are your question. You can see here, you know, you can see the gender, age, locations, and so on. All right. So let's say you have already created the Google form. You have already collected data. So as I mentioned, you know, at the Google form, you go to the responses, and you know, at the top right, you will see the green color. That is the Excel. You can actually click there. Immediately, you will get the Excel format. Okay, you can actually download it. And then if you go for the 3 dot next to the Excel, you can actually download it as a CSV. So how do you actually import it into your SPSS? The moment when you open the SPSS, you will see the file here. So you can click File, and you can actually import data. So you ask yourself whether your data is actually in the Excel format or CSV. Okay, let's say it's in the Excel format. Let's say, okay, this is what you have actually download from your Google form, okay, and you save it in the Excel format, okay. You remember the green color at the top bottom, the top right. So that is the Excel format. So you can actually save it somewhere in your folder, and then you click, okay, and then you can import. Then you can actually click Open. Okay. So once you click Open, immediately you will get this. Okay, what you can actually see here. All right. So now I'm going to show you how to run the frequency. First, you click Analyze. Then you go to Descriptive Statistic. Then you click Frequency. Okay, you can put in whatever the respondent profile, and you can just move them. For example, in this case, I want to move the first one, that is gender and age. I move them to the right column. Okay, you can actually drag. Then after that, you click here, then it will go to the right column. If you don't want, you can always move them back. Okay. So in this case, okay, let's say you have two. Of course, I would expect you have more, because when you have more personal data, it means that you actually know your respondent very clear. So you can click the next one, you click the statistic. So look at the statistic that what do you actually need to include? Okay, like for example, in this case, you just want to see, you can go for standard deviations if you want to. If you don't want, you can just click continue. It will come out immediately. If you want to see chart, okay, for Nusantara project, I don't want to see any chart. I just want to show extra here. If you want to go for pie chart, histogram, you can. I do not actually encourage any chart in our Nusantara project. You can actually click OK. The moment you click OK, you can see you will have the gender. They actually report the frequency. In this case, in this example, there are a total of 81 male respondent and 70 female. So you can see the percentage here, okay, and the same go for the age category. So you can see immediately, you can see the pie chart. So what you can actually do, remember the table 1 that I showed you just now. So you can actually, when you see the frequency for the gender, you need to actually key into table 1 from here. So the frequency and the percentage. Okay. So frequency is what you can see in the frequency tab, okay? So you can click descriptive. Descriptive is what you can actually get. Let's say I want to look at the gender and age again. You can actually see, you can click standard deviation, minimum and maximum. This is to make sure that you it's also one way to check whether is there any data entry mistake in the data entry. So you can see the minimum and maximum. So from here, you can click here at the left column. Okay, something. So you click here, you can see already. So from here, you will see, okay, the descriptive statistic for gender, minimum is 1. Okay, maximum is 2. 1 means that male, 2 means that female. So what is the mean? Okay, and the standard deviations. The lower of the standard deviation means that the better. So age. So there are 9 categories, you can see. So majority is between category 2 and 3. Okay. So I will go back to my slides. So this is what you have actually went through just now. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to use the frequency test. So you run for all your personal data, for all the respondent personal data, and you come up with table 1, that is respondent profile summary. Okay, the next table for your Nusantara project is this table. Table 2, descriptive statistic, whereby you need to get the number of items, mean, standard deviations. That is what we call the descriptive statistic, and the Cromba coefficient alpha. What is Cromba coefficient alpha? Is the reliability that I mentioned just now. So you can see at the diagonal, okay, the diagonal entry where the number is actually bold. This is the coefficient alpha for each of your variable. And the zero order correlations for all your study variable is in between. What you can see in the triangle inside the next to all your coefficient alpha. Okay, so when you come up with this table, you make sure that you actually arrange all your independent variable clear, okay, as per your research framework. So which independent variable that you put as first? It has to be the first one in your table 2, followed by your second variable, and so on. So in this case, you can see the table 2, the last one is actually behavioral intentions. So this is the DV. So your DV is always the last one in your table 2. So I'm going to show you how do you actually categorize the variable. So let's go back to the SPSS. So we will actually, okay, first thing, what you need to do is you have to run the reliability first. Okay, let's go back to the SPSS. So from here, okay, let's say, you know, okay, let's go back to the variable view. Let's look at the interactivity. There are 3 items, as you can see here. You can see what I click, right? So there are 3 items that you use to measure interactiveness. So you have to actually name them correctly so that you are actually easier for you to identify. So you have 3 items for interactivity. So we want to measure after you collect the data, how reliable are these 3 items. Okay, let's run the reliability analysis. Okay, so how do you actually run the reliability? You click analyze, then you go to scale. Okay, and then you click reliability analysis. Okay, then here you can see this box. Okay, then you have to search the 3 items. Okay, then you have to go for the from here you can see. Okay, the first interactivity item is when I access. Okay, the third one is I often pause. The second one is pages on. So where are they? So you have, is these 3 items. So you have to actually identify. Then you move it to here. Oh. So 3 items to for your interactivity. So you must be very clear. For each variable, now what we are doing is we want to test the reliability of your particular variable. In this case, is your interactivity. So there are 3 items. Make sure you put in the 3 items under the reliability analysis. And then you click the statistic. Okay, you look at the statistic here. So what are the items that you need to click? Okay, item, scale if item deleted. Okay, if you want, you also can click the correlations. Okay, after that, you click continue and then you click OK. Okay, after you click OK, you will see the result immediately appear. Okay, students, I want you to look at this reliability statistic. Okay, you can see here, right? Okay, so you will see, you will notice that there are 2 crombar alpha. The first one is 0.612. It means that it is actually reliable, is somewhere 61%. Okay, I don't want you to report this crombar alpha. The one that you're supposed to report is based on the standardized item. That is in the middle. So you can see the crombar alpha based on the standardized item is 0.612.
Miss, Doctor?
Excuse me.
Yes.
The participants cannot see the output.
Oh, the participant cannot see the output.
Yes.
Okay, I see. All right. Let me check. Okay. Okay, I thank you so much for sharing. So means that all the while when I talk about frequency, none of you actually see the output. Okay, this is the output. So let me show you. Okay, when you run the frequency, right? This is what you're going to get. You will see the frequency for the male, for female, okay, the percentage. So what you need to do is actually you copy this and you insert it in your table 1. The same go for age, so you can see your pie chart also. But anyhow, I do not actually encourage you to put any chart in your team paper because you are only given 10 pages. So your 10 pages are very precious. Put useful data only. So this, you are going to include all this in your table 1. Then you can run the descriptive. You can see the descriptive statistic that will show you your minimum, maximum, and then your mean and standard deviations for each of your variable here. Okay, and now, okay, in order to identify the reliability of your variable, you know, you have 3 items for interactivity. As I mentioned, you click analyze, then you go for scale, then reliability analysis, and this is what you're going to get. So the result is here. So you see this box, right? Okay, they will tell you you have 151 here, and then you see the second one. I click here. You see the first one is Chrombar Alpha 0.612. Do not use that. You're supposed to use the Chrombar Alpha based on the standardized item 0.63. Okay, and they actually inform you number of items is 3. So you can actually check and balance, double check how many items that you have for each of your variable. So we only, in this case, this variable is actually interactivity. So there are 3 items for interactivity. So the Chrombar Alpha that you're supposed to report is not the first Chrombar Alpha. Unstandardized, you should actually go for the standardized item. So what you need to report is 0.63. Okay, and then, okay, here. So you can see the mean for each of the item means that, what is the mean? The meaning of mean means that if let's say in this case, they're using 5-point Likert scale. So I want you to understand all these figures. What does it mean? So means that majority of your, averagely respondent actually answer between 4 and 5. Your 4, okay, if let's say your 5-point Likert scale is from strongly disagree to strongly agree. 4 means that is agree. So majority of them actually choose agree to strongly agree. So you can see in this case, averagely respondent agree. Standard deviations less than 1 is actually good, means that there is no much deviation. What is no much deviation? Means that most of the respondent, their answer are quite close to one another, consistent. So there is no much deviations from each other. So 0.73. So lower than 1 is always good. When you have more than 1, it's still actually acceptable. Try not to go more than 2 or 3. So when you have deviations, 3 point something means that there's something wrong already. It means that the answer from one to another is actually very far apart. So you have to go and check if there is any data entry error. Go back and check on that. So you can see the 3 items here. For interactivity, the standard deviation is good. And the mean, okay, for the second one is 3, means that majority, the answer either neutral or agree. All right. So why I choose click scale if deleted? Okay, when here, I want you to look at this box. It's very important for you to understand. Okay, just now, what is the Chrombar Alpha? Based on the standardized is 0.63, right? So here, this statistic is telling you, you have 3 items here. If you remove the first item, your Chrombar Alpha will drop to 0.464. If you remove the second item, means that you don't want this item, the Chrombar Alpha will be 0.69. So which one is better? Which one is better, students? The current one is 0.63. Okay, with the 3 items, your Chrombar Alpha means that your reliability is actually 63%. But if you actually drop the second item, then your Chrombar Alpha will actually increase to 69%. If you drop the last item, then your Chrombar Alpha will drop to 0.38. So nobody actually want to drop this, the first one or the third one. So you have the choice. You can choose to maintain the 3 items, even though the reliability is only 0.63, means that 63%. Because you have 2 choices. Either you maintain the 3 items, or you can choose because if I drop the second item, my reliability will be increased. Let's see, true or not. Okay, so from here, actually this table is a guide for you because sometimes you may have 7 items, you may have 8 items, 9 items, and your reliability is actually no good. And from here, they will actually tell you sometimes you drop 1 item, it will help to increase your Chrombar alpha to 0.7, 0.8, or 0.9. So you have to actually check this table. That's why it's very important for you to click. I show you again. You see, analyze. Then you go for scale, and then hang on, I need to move this. Okay, analyze, go for scale, go for reliability analysis. So it's very important for you to click this, what is that? Okay, scale if item deleted, because you want to check whether, if any item deleted, does it actually help to increase the Chrombar alpha for my variable? Okay. So cancel. So just now we learned, right? If we actually remove item number 2, I often pause so you can double check. So let's do Chrombar alpha for 2 items only. So means that you only use 2 items. Okay, you don't need to click statistic. And the moment when you key in your statistic for the first time, it will be automatic, recorded what you want. What is the action that you want? So you can immediately click OK. So when you click OK, you see here, what happened? The Chrombar alpha for the standardized item increased to 0.697. See? Can you see? So it means that these 2 items actually, when they combine together, they have a stronger reliability. So you can actually choose to go for this one, or you can actually maintain 3 items. So you can try to do 2. Let's see, at the end regressions, which one will be actually better. So, so the reliability for here, you can, if let's say you report in 2 decimal, then you will report is 0.7. So I always encourage my student to go for 2 decimal. Of course, I will leave it for you. You can always go for 3 decimal if you want to. So if let's say 2 decimal, this, you will actually round this out, it will be 0.7. So 0.7 and above is considered good reliability. And means that this 2 is actually reliable. So after you have actually run the reliability analysis, what you need to do is you need to actually combine these 2 and form and name it as one variable that is called interactivity. So what you need to do, we go for transform. After transform, you click the first one, it's called compute variable. Okay, why we go for this? Because we want to name them as interactivity. You have 2 items. So we name here interactivity. Okay, let's say interactivity. You can name in one, whatever. Then you have to remember this is what you actually name. Then you go for the next box. There is a numeric expression. So you click here. Okay, just like you are doing mathematics, it's very easy. So in this case, you have 2 items, right? So you have to actually search for your item 1. So which one is your item 1? When I access. Okay, you go to the left column, you click, and then you move it to this one. And then, when we go for the mathematics, you must make sure that 2 items you have to plus. Plus, then the second item that you want to go is pages. Okay, the other one, you actually remove it because, your choice. Okay, let's try first. Also, we are going to try an error and we'll see which one has a better result. Okay, so we will actually exclude the third item. Okay, because the 2 items actually generate higher reliability. So you have 2 items, so you have to divide by the n. How many? So in this case, it's 2. If let's say you have 3, then you will divide by 3. So after that, you click OK. Okay. And now you didn't see any changes in the output. Okay, never mind. I need to run another one. Let you see what is the difference. transform, compute again. You click and see. Okay, just now, okay, this, I put IN1. So let's remember, this is actually 2 items only. Let's put IN2. Okay, IN2, because I want to test whether which one will be even better. Of course, the first choice is the IN1. Let's see. So IN2 means that I include 3 items. Okay, you can put here plus, okay, the third item. The third item is which one already? I often pause. Okay, I often pause. Okay, you have 3 items, then you have to change the number behind to 3. Then after that, or divide by 3. Okay, it depends on the number of items here. So if let's say you have 6 items, make sure that you divide by 6. If you have 10 items, make sure you divide by 10. Okay, there's a formula. Okay, it's the number of items. Okay, we actually wanted to look for the average. Okay, the formula is very easy. You know average. So you have how many items, you have to plus them all together, divide by the number of items that you have. Then you come out with the variable. This is how you actually compute your variable. And you can name your variable. Of course, I would suggest that you put in interactivity. Okay, then you click OK. Okay, you see no changes here, right? Because there is some changes in your data editor. So I need to go back to the data editor. Here, the SPSS interface. So from here, you will see, you go for the data view, right? You move all the way to behind. You see that you have the one that you compute here. Can you see that? Okay, you can see the IN1 where you have 2 items only. The IN2 is the 3 items for interactivity. So this is how you actually compute. Okay, after you compute, okay, what you need to do is you need to do exactly the same for all your variable. So I've done that to save the time. So you can see here, right? You can see interactivity, convenience, informativeness, trust, and purchase intentions. So you have this 5 already. So you only form this, you have to make sure the Chroma alpha is good enough. If not, then you have to check. Okay, remember the scale, if item deleted, so you have to check which item you have to remove. Okay, and then after you form all your variable, okay, then what you need to do is you have to run the correlations. Okay. Sorry, you can also run the correlations, or you can actually go for the descriptive first. So you go for all your variable here. Okay, these 2. Okay, you have the mean, standard deviations. Okay. So you can see here, you can see your minimum, maximum, mean, and standard deviations. Okay, means that for interactiveness, okay, people answer between 3.9 means that it's between neutral to agree. So standard deviations for all the variable are good. You see, all less than 1. So means that the answer are very consistent. It's not much deviate from one another. And the same goes for convenience. Okay, the interactiveness here, they actually include 3 items. Okay, the interactivity, you can actually, okay, key in twice, never mind. You can actually just do until purchase intention. Okay, so you go for descriptive. Wait. Analyze the descriptive statistic. Then you go for descriptive. Then you remove this one. It's the same. Okay. All right.
Your screen isn't moving.
Sorry?
Our screen isn't moving.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, need to share the output. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so you can see, right? After you run the descriptive, you can see the variable, all your variable, okay, the mean and the standard deviations. From this table, you can see the mean is actually very good. It's skewed towards neutral to agree, and the standard deviations all are less than 1. Okay, so all these informations later on you're going to put into table 2. Okay, now the next one, what we need to do is, after you have run the descriptive, you can actually go to analyze again. We are going to do the correlations analysis. Okay, analyze. Wait. Analyze, you see the term correlate, then you go for the first tab by verb. Click. Okay, remember the variable that you have actually create. Okay, you use the compute variable, then you already create. Okay, you have 4 IDV and with 1 DV, purchase intention. Move it to the next box. Then you click options, mean and standard deviations. Then continue. And then you click OK. Okay, so you can see this. Okay, you can report this in your table 2, mean and standard deviation. So if you don't want to run the descriptive for your variable, you can actually get it from here. It's the same, exactly the same. So correlation will also help you to perform the descriptive statistic. So then after that, correlations, you can see the diagonal 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Okay, the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, you are going to replace with your Chrombar alpha. Okay, and then you can see the convenience. Let's go for the convenience. Below 1, okay, you can see there's 0.402 with 2 asterisk. Okay, what does it mean? It means that convenience is actually correlate positively with the interactivity, and the correlations is 0.4. It's considered a good correlations. So asterisk, 2 asterisk is even more stronger. So 2 asterisk actually means that they actually correlate with one another. Is 0.01. Okay, later I'm going to show you. So what you actually need to do is you copy this number 0.402 with the 2 asterisk. How many asterisk there you have to report exactly and put them into your table 2. So you can see informative with convenience is 0.800 asterisk. Then informative with interactive is 0.408 with 2 asterisk. So all these like trust 0.525, 0.405, 2 asterisk, 0.45, 2 asterisk. Purchase intention, all these you need to actually incorporate into your table 2. Let's go back to table 2 to refresh your memory. Okay, if you have any question, you turn on your mic so that I know. Like for example, if you see that the screen is stagnant and you cannot see the PowerPoint slides, let me know. So can you see the table 2? Okay, so table 2, see? Table 2, you actually list all your variables, okay, from IDV to your DV. Okay, arranged in such a way that it is the same sequence as your research framework. So you can see here, diagonal reliability. Okay, how do you actually get the reliability? Analyze, scale, and then you click the reliability analysis. You put in all the items you check. So you can see in this example, the reliability for all the variables are very strong. Okay, the lowest is actually 0.85. The highest is actually 0.947. So you can see they have a very good reliability for each of the variable. That is the diagonal. You have to actually bore them for the Chrombar alpha. Then underneath the diagonal, you can see these are the correlations result. So you actually make sure that you have to key in correctly from your correlations analysis. Okay, I go back to the, okay, hang on. I go back to the output. Okay, see here, convenience, purchase intentions, all these, right? You can see all the asterisk. So you have to actually put all this into the table 2. Of course, sometimes, okay, please do not assume that every variable, they must have asterisk. Asterisk means that they are actually significant. This is a significant correlation. Sometimes when you run correlations, students will find that your variable does not have any asterisk. What does it mean? It means that it is not significant. It means that your variable 1 with your another variable is not significant. If let's say in this case, convenience and interactiveness, right? It's actually significant with 2 asterisks. Okay, means that it's at the 0.01 level to tell. So if let's say you don't have, if you have 1 asterisk, what does it mean? It means that it is actually significant at 0.05 level. Okay, and what if there is no asterisk? Means that it is not significant. This correlation between the 2 is not significant. You have to report as it is. Okay, I don't want to see students look at this, SPSS, I show you, all is 2 asterisk. Then after that, you key in all your data 2 asterisk. No, you have to report as it is based on your correlation analysis. Okay, if there is 3 asterisk means that they are actually significant at 0.00 level. That is the strongest correlation. It means that it's the most significant. With 3 asterisk means that very significant. Actually, 1, 2, 3 also significant, but we are talking about the strength of the significant level. 3 asterisk means that it's the most significant, followed by 2, followed by 1. Okay, if your correlations don't have any asterisk, means that there is no correlation between the 2. Okay, so you have to actually report. Let me see. I use annotate first. There are actually 15 people. They are still at the waiting room. Can you actually let them in?
We cannot let some in because we have reached the capacity of 300.
Oh, okay, I see. All right.
But we have already recorded the video for this
Okay.
meeting, so they can watch.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your
Yes.
clarifications. So I use annotate so you have to report all these. Okay, like for example, informative with interactivity. You see all this, you have to actually incorporate into your table 2. Okay, yeah, this informative with convenience. So you have to make sure when you import them, actually import them means that you actually manually key in. Okay, you can print out these tables, it's easier for you. Then manually key in into your table 2. So you can see all these are underneath of the diagonal. So your diagonal here, you're supposed to key in your from bar alpha. Okay, I clear all the drawing. Okay, now let's go back to, can you share? Let's go back to the SPSS. No, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So this is how you actually get your correlations and your reliability and the number or item. Where do you get it? Anyone? It's from your reliability analysis. Remember, when you run the reliability, they will actually mention how many items do you have. So you can actually get it from there, or you have to actually get it from there because you have to check whether how many items are reliable. Then you actually combine them and name them. Mean and standard deviations, when you run the correlations, you actually get it already. So if your mean, how do you know that your sometimes it's very easy for me to identify whether student made mistake or not, because students sometimes they don't run SPSS and simply key in. They think the lecturer is not wise enough to actually detect. Sometimes the student actually key in like the means is 11, then the mean more than 5. But whereas the student are actually using 5-point Likert scale, how can your mean is actually outside of your Likert scale? Means the average of the respondent, their answer are located at this category. That is the meaning of mean, average. So how can your mean is outside of your Likert scale? Like for example, you're using 7, okay, but your mean is actually 8. So then I will check their deviations, standard deviation also. So you see the table 2, underneath there's a note. So it's very important for you to put this note. Of course, you can always refer to your sample paper that I provide you. So you can see in this case, the N is 200. Okay, the significant level, 1 asterisk is actually at the 0.05, 2 asterisk 0.01 level, and the P for 3 asterisk is actually less than 0.001. Okay, and you have to actually bold your diagonal, and you have to actually explain, put a note there. The diagonal entry represent Cronbach coefficients alpha. All right. Okay, so any question for table 2? So we already covered for table 1, the run the frequency. And then table 2, you need to run the correlations, Cronbach alpha, and then the correlations. Okay, any questions? No question, then we shall move on to regressions. Remember, you have the hypothesis, and you, okay, after you run the correlations, okay, some of the students, they use correlations to prove their hypothesis, whether their hypothesis is accepted or rejected. And I want to tell you, this is wrong. Okay, you can't use correlation. Correlations is only to inform you that there is a relationship, but you have to actually prove this relationship via regressions. So what is regressions? If you're very good at the mathematics, you can see. So regressions estimate the coefficients of the linear equations. Okay, coefficients are the value that multiply the predictor value. Okay, so suppose you have the following research equations. Y equals to 3x plus 5. So in this research, in these regression equations, 3 is a plus 3. Unless, in front of 3 is a negative, then that is negative 3. Okay, so we, if let's say there is no sign of negative, it is always positive. So the plus 3 is a coefficient, and then the plus 5 is a constant, X is the predictor. So how do you actually run the regressions? It's very easy. You go to the SPSS data editor, you click the analyze, then regressions, and then you go for the first tab, linear. Then you should be able to get the result. Okay, here I provide, okay, the third table that you should have for your Nusantara project is table 3, regression analysis. So the same, the variable you have to arrange based on your research framework. So in this case, we can see the framework, they have two. Why we put, okay, you can see this table is slightly maybe different from yours. In this case, they measure the relationship between all the variable to behavioral intentions. And then they also measure the relationship between the 6 IDV to the DV attitude. So there are 2 DV in this case. So you can see here, okay, so you can actually create the column. The column means your DV, okay, the right column. So in this case, they have 2 DV, behavioral intentions and also attitude. And you can see here, you put in, you see the asterisk, right? Asterisk actually show, okay, you look at the table 3 and make sure you must put a note, okay? So you can see that the asterisk here, like for example, so the hypothesis is the first one is actually there is a positive relationship between perceived usefulness and behavioral intention. Let's say this is your hypothesis 1. So is it accepted or rejected? Okay, based on your result. So in this case, it's actually accepted. Why? There is an asterisk. Asterisk means that it is actually significant. So it's 0.172. So it means that there is a positive relationship between perceived usefulness and behavioral intention. How about perceived usefulness with attitude? Okay, it is even more significant. Look at the asterisk. It's 3 asterisk, 0.231. So which one is actually stronger? stronger, how to say, means that this predictor perceived usefulness can predict strongly to attitude compared to behavioral intentions. If you look at all these 5 IDV, which one is the strongest predictor? Actually, in your discussion section in your team paper, you can actually look at the result. So first, you can see out of these 6 IDV, how many are significant? Okay, in this case, if let's say your DV is behavioral intention, you can see that perceived usefulness is significant with 1 asterisk. Enjoyment is also significant, means that your hypothesis is accepted for behavioral intentions. And also attitude is also significant with behavioral intentions. So of these 3 predictors, always remember the regressions equations that you have just now. Y equal to X plus your constant, X plus C is constant. So in this case, the predictor is all your IDV. So Y depend on your predictors. So out of this predictor, out of your IDV, so which one is the strongest predictor to behavioral intention? Any student? Can I have volunteer? How about Yap? Yap Guan He, if I pronounce your name correctly. Yap Huan Ying.
Yes, doctor.
Haha. So what is your answer? Which one is the strongest predictor to behavioral intentions?
Perceived usefulness.
Oh, so you see perceived usefulness is the strongest among the 6 IDV. Okay, thank you. Yeah, good try. No worry. How about Guo Wei Li? Guo Wei?
Yes.
Yep. Which one is the strongest predictor to behavioral intention?
I cannot quite sure.
Never mind. Give it a try. Guo Wei, it's okay. Just try.
I guess it's the altitude.
Attitude. Okay. And you know what, Guo Wei? You got it right. Well done.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, as I mentioned, you have to look at the asterisk. The more asterisk for the number means that this is actually the most significant. Okay, so let's say in this case, you have 6 variable with behavioral intentions. So it means that you have 6 hypotheses with behavioral intentions. So out of these 6 hypotheses, how many are actually accepted? There are 3. Perceived usefulness, enjoyment, and attitude, because these 3, they have the asterisk. Okay, which predictor, when I say which predictor, automatically I want you to link it to your independent variable. Okay, which actually predict behavioral intentions, like, how do we know that, a customer want to buy or not buy? Okay, or customer want to use, let's say in this case is they want to use Food Panda. So you can see they say, or they see Food Panda is actually useful. A Food Panda website is actually very easy to use. I enjoy using Food Panda service. I trust Food Panda. Social influence, and maybe all my friends are using Food Panda. And attitude. It depends on whether your attitude towards Food Panda. So in this case, whether you have positive attitude towards Food Panda. Let's say they are doing Food Panda. Okay, just give an example. So you can see which one actually predict my behavior intentions to continue to use Food Panda. So the result, according to table 3, suggests that I perceive this is actually useful. That's why I will actually continue my behavior using this Food Panda. Okay, enjoyment and also attitude. And of these 3 hypotheses accepted, okay, which predictor is the strongest? It depends on the asterisk. Okay, you have 3 asterisk, means that this is the strongest predictor. How about these 3? They have 3 asterisk. Like for example, perceived usefulness 0.172, 3 asterisk. Enjoyment 0.205, 3 asterisk. Attitude, 0.427, 3 asterisk. Which one is the strongest? Let's go for Shahira. Shahira?
Yeah.
Okay. So which one will be the strongest predictor?
For behavior, number 2, 4 and 5.
4 and 5?
Trust.
Trust and social influence. Okay, good try. Never mind. Okay, good try. Don't worry. Okay, we have Ru Xiang. Ru Xiang, Chen. Ru Xiang, can you give it a try? Ru Xiang? Okay, Yi Hui. Yi Hui is under my supervision. Yi Hui? Yi Hui?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so which one will be the strongest predictor? If let's say, you know, all this has 3 asterisks, like let's say for number 1, perceived usefulness, 0.172 got 3 asterisks. Number 3, enjoyment with behavioral intentions is 0.205 with 3 asterisks. Attitude, number 6, the same, 0.427, 3 asterisks. Which one is the strongest predictor to behavioral intention? Yi Hui?
For me, I think it's attitude.
Okay, why?
Because got 3 attitudes there.
Okay, Yi Hui, well done. So happy for you. Okay, I'm glad that you managed to get the answer. Well done. So correct. So we will, if let's say these 3, right? Like what I mentioned, 0.72 with 3 asterisk, 0.205 with 3 asterisk, 0.427. Then we will look at the bigger number, the stronger it is. It means that this 3 has a significant relationship with behavioral intention. But which one is stronger? So we will look at the attitude. Attitude is stronger. Then followed by which one? If let's say enjoyment have 3 asterisk, means that it's followed by enjoyment because the number is 0.2. Then followed by perceived usefulness because the number is 0.172. Okay, if let's say these 3 have 3 asterisk. How about okay, in this case, right, if you look at table 3, okay, attitude have 3 asterisks. So which one is the strongest predictor? Of course, it's attitude, followed by enjoyment, 0.205 with 1 asterisk, and then followed by perceived usefulness, 0.172 asterisk. Why I actually spend so much time? Because this is actually very critical in your discussion section. You have to actually discuss that 3 hypotheses are accepted and which one is the strongest predictor to your DV. So you have to mention, okay, attitude followed by enjoyment and then perceived usefulness. Let's look at the second column, the DV is attitude. Okay, so you have 6 variables to the attitude. So you can see in this case, right, it's still the same variable with attitude. So it means that these 3 variables are very important. They are the 3 important predictor, not only to behavioral intention, but also to attitude. You see, perceived usefulness in table 3, 0.231 with 3 asterisk. Enjoyment, 0.386 with 3 asterisk. Social influence, 0.150 with 2 asterisk. Okay, because attitude to attitude, you cannot. So you can see here, the 3 important predictor to attitude is perceived usefulness, enjoyment, and social influence. Okay, which one is the strongest? You look at the number of asterisk. Okay, enjoyment is the strongest with 3 asterisk, and the number is actually higher. So it's 0.386, followed by perceived usefulness and social influence. So what actually can predict our attitude is, I see this food panda is useful. I see that I enjoy, and I see because a majority of my friends, are using food panda. So these are the 3 critical factors that determine my attitude. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to report in your discussions. Okay, now let's move on to the SPSS.
Doctor,
Okay, stop sharing. Okay, no worry. Okay, I will click. Okay, let's go to SPSS 1225 already. Okay, now you can see this, right? You analyze regressions, go to automatic linear mode. No need, go to linear. Then after that, okay, in this case, remember what is your DV? Okay, in this example is purchase intention. Then you put in, okay, interact with all your IDV here. So very easy. You just click. Then after that, you put in the statistic. Okay, you can click ask question, descriptive, Dubin Watson, then continue. Then the rest, let me check. Continue, no need, you no need to have any, the rest are okay. Oh, so basically you just go for the statistic will do. Then you click OK. Click OK, no worry, I'm going to share so that you can see, wait. New share and share the SPSS output. Okay, so you can see the output, right? So you can see under the regressions, okay, you see the regressions, mean standard deviations, and sorry. This is the correlations, regressions, okay, sorry. You have to, okay, then you will see here, the variable enter, you double check whether correct or not. Okay, they will tell you your DV is purchase intentions. So you check, sometimes you key in wrongly. So here they actually inform you the DV that you key in is purchase intentions, your IDV, the rest. Then we have to go for the model summary. You have to check here. You look at whether this model means that your framework is actually okay or not okay. You have to check whether your these are what we call the significant F change. So it means that 0.000 means that it's very significant. So it means that your model is a model, is a very good model. So you can see the R square, you can actually report the adjusted R square that is 0.52, means that your model, the variable that you suggest, right, the factors actually contribute to contribute to 52.9% to your DV, that's purchase intention. Okay, and then you go for the coefficient. Okay, this is the table that you must see. This table, coefficient, right? Just now, when you come out with the table 3, then we look at the, the number with all the asterisk. You have to report the standardized beta. There are unstandardized beta, then coefficient standard error, then after that standardized coefficient beta. You have to report here. Okay, and then you look at the significant number. Okay, this is significant where you actually determine the number of asterisk for each variable. Okay, you see the first one, interactive. Okay, the interactivity with the purchase intention, the standardized beta reported is 0.05. Is it significant or not? Hello? Any student? Yihui? Yihui? Yihui, are you there?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so they put significant is actually 0.462. Is it significant? What do you think? Yihui?
I think it's not significant.
Okay, well done, Yihui. I'm so happy. I pray that all my students, you are able to interpret. So here, 0.462 definitely is not significant. It has to be, remember, we have the 3 asterisk represent what? It means that 3 asterisk means that is actually the significant level is less than 0.001. So you can see in the IDV, right, which one is actually with 3 asterisk is informativeness and trust. You can see the significant level here, right? I use this one. See here, the informativeness, the significant level is 3. It's 3 asterisk, 0.000. So the moment you see 0.000, you know already. So you put 3 asterisk here. 1. Very difficult for me to do. So you have to report 0.371, 3 asterisk. Okay. This is how you should report. Therefore, trust, okay, significant level is also 0.000, means that it's 3 asterisk. So what you need to do, 0.275, 3 asterisk. Okay, you can actually round it out to 2 decimal. If 2 decimal is 0.28, then 3 asterisk. Let's look at convenience. Convenience significant or not? The significant level is 0.041. Okay, let me check who else. Ho Wen Kan. Ho Win. Ho Wen Kan, are you there?
Yes, doctor.
So for the third one, no, for convenience, do you think is it significant?
I think not significant.
Okay, never mind, good try.
So,
Tay Yi, my student, under my supervision. You don't know? Go on. No, just kidding. No worry. Yeah, what do you think? Significant, not significant? Huh?
Significant.
Significant with how many asterisk?
1.
Correct. Well done, Imi. Proud of you. Okay. So you see, remember the formula is the 0.041 means that you remember 1 asterisk. You have to actually understand the meaning of 1 asterisk. 1 asterisk means that the significant level is actually less than 0.05. So you see, the number there is 0.041. Means that it's less than 0.05, means that this is 1 asterisk. So what you need to report, convenience is actually significant. So you need to report, look at the standardized beta here, and then is actually 0.194. So what you need to report in your table 3 is 0.194. If let's say you are using 3 decimal, then it's 0.194. If you're using 2 decimal, then it's 0.19. Then you put in 1 asterisk. Okay, are you clear? Then for interactiveness, okay, the significant level is 0.46. No way, because the 1 asterisk, the significant level is actually P less than 0.05. So this one is already more than significant level of 0.05. So there is no way. So means that interactiveness is not significant. And in your table, you have to report the beta. The beta is, I clear all the things first. Clear all drawing. So you have to report all these beta in your table 3. With the significant level, for the first one, interactiveness, there is no significance, so you don't need to put in the asterisk. Then convenience, 0.194 is significant. Is significant at 1 asterisk. There is the P is less than 0.05. Then the informativeness and trust, they are significant with 3 asterisk. Because the P level, the significant level is less than 0.001. So this is how you're supposed to present in your table 3. So any questions for regressions? So this is how, so when you report, make sure you use the standardized coefficient beta and always look at your significant. Your significant will actually tell you whether you have relation, whether you can support your hypothesis. Okay, in this case, you see how many hypotheses? There are 4 hypotheses. Means that the first hypothesis is interactiveness with purchase intention, convenience with purchase intention, informativeness with purchase intention, trust with purchase intention. So 4 hypotheses. So out of 4 hypotheses that you formulate, you only have 3 hypotheses accepted. Okay, for your team paper, I would I want to see at least you know your hypothesis accepted is 40% and above. Let's say you have 10 hypotheses, means that you must have at least 4 hypotheses accepted. If let's say you have 10 hypotheses, all the hypotheses are rejected, it means that your framework is definitely not a good one. You get what I mean or not? So it's very critical. That's why I say you have to actually talk to your supervisor to go through your question. In order for you to do it correctly, is best, is wise to actually to adopt and adapt from the past literature review, and by checking the Cromba alpha reported for each of the variable. Okay, and then let's go back to the PowerPoint. So I will share the PowerPoint now. Okay, so we have talked about this. Okay, so this is table 2 to refresh, then your regressions. Okay, analyze regressions, then okay, now after you come up with the table 3, you can run the extra mile. This is optional. So I will not say that you must have this table. So for example, in this case, you have so many hypotheses. This is your hypothesized model. So you can see there are 5 IDV. Okay, perceived usefulness, ease of use, enjoyment, trust, social influence with the attitude, and also with the behavioral intention. Let's say this is your research model. So you can actually put in your beta, then whether it's significant. When you see in this model, right, you see that there is no asterisk here. Means that ease of use to the attitude, there is no, it's not significant. This relationship is not significant. Means that this hypothesis is actually rejected. Okay, so perceived usefulness to attitude, you see here, is actually significant with 3 asterisks. It's very significant. Perceived usefulness to behavioral intentions is actually significant. So it means what? So you can see attitude towards behavioral intention is super significant. So it means that actually, if I really want to, let's say I'm the employer, I'm the food panda, boss. So in order for my customer, you want to actually increase people to buy food or to use food panda. So if let's say this is the finding that I get, so I must make sure that my food panda will be perceived useful, because that is the strong, that is actually a very important predictor that will affect the attitude of my customer. And then ease of use maybe is not so important. And then enjoyment is very important. Must make sure they really enjoy using. Okay, and also the social influence is important also. Okay, so we can see that which one is more important, which one is the most critical predictor to attitude. It is actually, okay, enjoyment. Okay, and then so attitude towards behavioral intentions. So attitude is actually very critical. So in order to increase the behavior intentions of my customer, make sure that I take care of the attitude first. So how to take care of the attitude? I will look at which one is the most critical predictor. So you can actually incorporate this in your discussion. And then you look at what actually influence. If let's say all these independent variable, right, to the DV behavioral intention, which one is more critical? So you can see here, perceived usefulness is 0.172. Okay, okay, then you see ease of use and enjoyment. Okay, ease of use is not significant. Trust also is not significant. Social influence also is not significant. So the one that is significant is perceived usefulness, okay, and the enjoyment. Okay, which one is the critical one? Okay, it is enjoyment, followed by perceived usefulness. Hopefully I didn't miss out. So if let's say I want to increase the behavior intentions, I must really look at the enjoyment factor and also the perceived usefulness characteristic. How can I actually help to increase my customer behavior intentions? How to actually encourage them to use Foodpanda and to trust Foodpanda also through these tools. So you can actually comment. Okay, why you may be asking, okay, the past research is saying that ease of use. Why my result is saying that it's perceived usefulness? Because it depends on the it depends on your context of study. Maybe the study is actually conducted in other country, or maybe also in Malaysia, but also it depends on who are your respondent. Sometimes your respondent are youth. You get what I mean or not? So you have to look at the generations, whether they are the youth, or maybe they are working adults, or maybe they are the older generations. This will actually affect the way how they actually perceive the behavioral intentions. So always go back to your demographic. That's why I say demographic factor is very important, because you can see the characteristic of your respondent. Who are your respondent? So you have to actually include in your discussion. Okay, and then, yep, that's all for my presentations. And thank you, everyone. If you have any question, you can actually ask. So we'll pass this time to AIBPM, to take over.
Thank you, Dr. Daisy, for your wonderful lesson in this meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah. We will start the Q&A session. Should any of the participants have any questions, please use the feature raise hand on Zoom, and we will you can unmute yourself. And if you want maybe like going anonymous, maybe you can just type the question on the chat box.
Yeah. I also want to thank the students, or just I did not actually see your message. So I can see like Huan Hao Yen, No Farah, Honey, and Siu Wei Jie, you have actually provided your opinion. Yeah, well done. And thank you so much. So any questions from the student? This is the best time, because you are doing the Nusantara project. So it's very important for you to know how to run the SPSS and how to actually interpret your results and make sure that your analysis is all correct. So if you have any question, you can ask me, like for example, some of the state you are still not clear. Let me know. Then I can show you. Okay, before we close our session at 1 o'clock. Now it's 12:42.
Okay, Dr. Daisy, there are two questions that have been asked in the chat box. Maybe I can read it for you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, the first one is that, Dr. Daisy, what is the limitation of SPSS, and is there any similar software which is...
okay. Limitation on SPSS, actually for Nusantara project, I think that if you are able to use the SPSS, that will be actually good enough. For advanced, okay, some of your supervisor, they will actually ask you to use other software. I would say that some your supervisor will actually ask you to use a PLS, partially square, or some maybe you're using MOS or maybe HLM. Okay, if you know how to run, I would say this is much more better software. It's called advanced software, better than SPSS. Yeah, so SPSS, I think for Nusantara project is actually adequate. Yeah.
Okay.
Hao Yen, you actually, yeah, it's already shared. Sorry, yeah, the next question.
Okay, the next question is, what is the minimum sample size for SPSS? And if the sample size is too small, can we process with the SPSS, or is there any other software that can make use of?
Thank you so much for the question. Minimum sample size, I would suggest that minimum is actually 100 if possible. And also actually there are rule of thumbs. If you actually look at some, they say that it has to be 5 times than your variables. Okay, So, but I don't really want to go for that because I don't want to see that student only collect 20, 30 and less than 100. Because this is a Nusantara project, I'm sure you have a good team. Sometimes, you know, your team member, you have about eight members, or sometimes even 10, or some of you have 6. You know, you have a large team member. So I expect that, you know, at least each of you can collect 20 data. So do distribute your tasks and make sure, that's why actually I mentioned, if possible, try to, because the more data you have, you will see that your hypotheses are more likely to be significant. Yeah, so let's say, you know, you are more likely to be accepted. Like, for example, let's say you have 6 hypotheses. The more data you are able to, you know, the analysis will be even more accurate, I would say. I'm not saying that less data is not accurate, but the more data you have, it will, you know, it will shows that, you know, some, because you have a strong, good data, some of the data you collect maybe is not too good. So it may actually affect your result, but the more data that you have, the accuracy is most likely there, and it will help with your hypothesis acceptance. Yeah. Of course, if you want to see hypothesis acceptance, you have to make sure that your research instrument is correct. The foundation is still go back to the way how you actually formulate your research framework, and also look at the question that you have. That's why actually I mentioned for all the teams, you have to actually make sure that if you go for the survey, you have to show your supervisor. Like some of my students, they show me, I'm so happy that they show it to me, because I can see so many mistakes. And they only have 2 items for each of the variable, and that is definitely not okay. You know why not okay? Just now you see when I run the reliability analysis with 3 items for the interactivity. Okay, what actually happened is one of the item is actually not too good, right? So I remove it. If let's say you have 2 items, if let's say one of the item is not good, you remove, you become 1 item, and you can never run the reliability analysis. Yeah. So it's minimum, you must have 3 items. Of course, if you think that you want to go for the advanced software, you can. Definitely is a better choice. SPSS, as I mentioned, is just a basic one, but it's definitely good enough for Nusantara project. But you can go for the advanced, and that is even better. Okay, any more questions?
Doctor,
Okay, there are 2 people who are raising their hands. We will start from Miss Wei first.
Okay, Vijay, what is your question?
Hi, Doctor. Previously, you say that the standard deviation better should not more than more than 1. What if
No, I didn't say that should not more than 1, Vijay. What I mentioned is the standard deviation will shows that whether the responses from the you know, all your all responses, are they actually close and consistent, not much deviate. So if let's say you can get less than 1, it means that actually all your answers are quite consistent. Means that but if let's say you know, okay, when the standard deviation is more than 2, still can more than 2, but definitely not more than 3. Try, if let's say more than 2, then you have to actually check. Try to make sure that the variable, the standard deviation is actually lower than 2. Okay, it means that when you have a high number for standard deviation, it means that let's say the questions for these particular questions, one participant actually, you know, it is not consistent. One say strongly disagree, another one say strongly agree. So it is very much deviated from one another. So it could be one of the reasons why it could actually happen that way is maybe this is the reverse coded question. Like, for example, you want to measure purchase intention, right? You will come up with a question like, I like to purchase. I will purchase the product in the future. Or another way, sometimes people will use reverse coded. Remember, in my OB class, I share with you all the items. You know, there are some are reverse coded question. They are bold. So in this case, purchase intentions, the reverse coded question will be, I will not purchase this product in the future. So sometimes the respondent, they see, oh, all these are the positive items. They don't even look at the negative item. So they will put strongly agree, agree, agree. In fact, they want to tell you and convey the message that they will purchase the product in the future, but they just didn't read the third items. They are not aware that this is actually the reverse coded. Okay. Talking about the reverse coded question, just in case you had the reverse coded question, I just want to share the slide, how to do the reverse coded question. We go back to the SPSS. This remind me. Okay, some of you may have the reverse coded question. So how do you actually do the reverse coded question? Wait. Here. Record into you can go for this one, but I don't recommend, because sometimes this is your original data, so you don't disturb it. You record into different variable. Let's say this one e-commerce. I just simply pick one. Let's say this is the negative statement. So you want to make it positive. Why we want to make it positive? Let's say this is the purchase intention statement. Let's say. So you have all the positive because your variable is purchase intention. What is the meaning of purchase intention? Means that you want to measure the respondent intention to purchase your product again. But in your questionnaire, there's one negative item. So let's say this is the negative item. So you can actually put let's say you have to let's say this is purchase intention 1. Okay, you put purchase intention 1. Okay, so you change first. Then you go to the all and remember your value 1. Your new value is what? 5. Means that strongly disagree, it will become strongly agree, because remember, I will not purchase the product in the future. So you have to actually reverse the whole thing. So 2 become 4. Okay, to make it positive. Okay, 3 to 3, you don't need to do anything. Then you click continue. If let's say this is 7 Likert scale, means that 1 to 7, 2 to 6, and 3 to 5. Yeah. And so on. Okay, then you click continue and you change first. Or duplicate the existing one. Which one? Let me see. The variable name, duplicate and existing variable. Oh, okay, I better change the name. Purchase. Let's say this is purchase intention item number 3. Okay, purchase intention item number 3. Okay, all right. So you click OK. Okay, you will not see in the output. So we will go back to the so you can see this data editor. Then you go back to the last. The moment when you see, it will actually show. Okay, why there is a missing data? Means that there is no respondent. Okay, it means that the respondent did not actually answer the question. So it means that purchase item 3, you actually created. This is the positive statement. And when you run the reliability, because you need to form, then you have to include the item 1, 2, and these 3. Okay, you do not actually you have to actually run this if you have the negative item only. Are you clear? Okay, I will stop sharing this.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Did I answer your question?
I have another question is, if the standard deviation too high, shall we delete the item to reduce the standard deviation?
Okay, too high means that there's something wrong already. You have to go back and check.
Oh, I see. So need to check back the questionnaire.
Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
okay, I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more question? Any more question?
Question, please to ask. This is your chance to ask.
Yeah, so for my team under my supervision, of course, I hope you can collect as many data as possible. If you look at your senior, it's actually 200. And so do your best. Minimum, I would say 150. Okay. So if you still have any question, you can always approach me if, when you come across, you don't know what to do with your data, let me know.